It just seems a little strange that you don't want to tell us where she is.
All right, I got nothing else to say to you guys.
Your daughter's alive?
Yeah,
You're sure?
I'm positive.
You're like, swear on your life.
Can you make me a promise? Like, man to man? Can you tell me that she's alive?
You're gonna play the same word games that you played with me the other day.
In late 2021, investigators in Manchester, New Hampshire, were not looking for a body at first. They were looking for a little girl who should have been in school, should have had medical records, should have had neighbors who had seen her, teachers who knew her name, birthday photographs, ordinary proof that she was still living somewhere in the world. But everywhere they looked, there was only absence. Harmony Montgomery was 7 years old on paper. In reality, no one outside the small circle around her father had seen her in nearly 2 years. Her mother, Crystal Sorey, had been trying to find her. She had called. She had asked questions. She had pushed for answers. Harmony was supposed to be with her father, Adam Montgomery, in New Hampshire. But Crystal could not reach her daughter, could not speak to her, could not get anyone to prove that the child was safe. When authorities finally began looking closely, the first discoveries were not dramatic. They were quiet, bureaucratic, and terrifying in their own way. Harmony was not enrolled in school. She was not living at the address where she was supposed to be. The house connected to the family was empty. Her father could not be easily found. And when police finally located Adam Montgomery on New Year's Eve of 2021, he did not respond like a desperate parent searching for his missing child. He claimed he had not seen Harmony in a long time. He suggested she was with her mother. But investigators would soon learn that this was not a misunderstanding. It was the beginning of a lie that had lasted almost 2 years. Harmony Renee Montgomery was born on June 7, 2014. Her early life was marked by instability, child welfare involvement, and custody battles between adults whose problems often became bigger than her needs. As a baby, she entered the foster care system after concerns connected to substance abuse and safety in the home. For much of her early childhood, she lived with foster caregivers who provided the structure and care that every child deserves. In 2018, Crystal Sorey lost her parental rights. Then, in February 2019, a court awarded custody of Harmony to her biological father, Adam Montgomery. That decision would later become one of the most heavily questioned moments in the entire case. A Massachusetts child advocate report later found serious concerns about how Harmony's placement was handled, including whether enough had been done to evaluate Adam's ability to safely care for her. Harmony moved to Manchester, New Hampshire, where she lived with Adam, his wife Kayla Montgomery, and 2 younger children. From the outside, it may have looked like a difficult family trying to survive. But almost immediately, there were warning signs. Relatives reported seeing Harmony with a black eye. Child protective workers became involved. Conditions in the home raised concerns, including instability, suspected drug use, and basic safety issues. Still, the case did not lead to Harmony being removed from the home. By the fall of 2019, the family situation had deteriorated further. In October, police had what would later be considered one of the last confirmed contacts with Harmony. In November, the family was evicted from their Manchester home. After that, Adam, Kayla, Harmony, and the other children began living in cars in temporary places. Harmony was 5 years old. She had impaired vision in one eye. She was small, vulnerable, and completely dependent on the adults around her. And during that period, according to later testimony, Adam's anger toward her became more frequent and more dangerous. The event prosecutors later identified as Harmony's death happened in December 2019. According to testimony at trial, the family was in a vehicle on the way to get fast food when Adam became angry with Harmony. The reason, as described in court, was painfully small, a bathroom accident. What followed was not discipline, it was violence. There were other people in the vehicle. There were other children nearby. And yet, according to testimony, no one was able to stop what happened. At some point, Harmony became unresponsive. That should have been the moment someone called 911. That should have been the moment the car turned toward a hospital. That should have been the moment every adult instinct focused on saving a child's life. Instead, prosecutors said, the adults continued on. Food was still picked up. Harmony was covered with a blanket. And from that point forward, the case became not only about the death of a child, but about the effort to hide what had happened to her. Over the following months, investigators believe Harmony's remains were concealed and moved between multiple locations. Her body was never recovered. Adam Montgomery was later convicted of second-degree murder and related charges, and in 2024, he was sentenced to decades in prison. But before the trial, before the conviction, before the headlines, there was nearly 2 years of silence. A child had vanished from school systems, medical systems, neighborhood life, and public view. And somehow, that silence lasted until her mother refused to stop asking where her daughter was. At first, investigators could not prove that Adam Montgomery was lying. His story, at least on the surface, sounded possible. He claimed that sometime around Thanksgiving of 2019, after the family lost their housing, Harmony had gone to live with her biological mother, Crystal Sorey. According to him, he was homeless, struggling, and believed she would be safer with Crystal for a while. But almost immediately, detectives noticed contradictions. Only minutes earlier, Adam had spoken as if he was completely certain Harmony was alive and fine. Yet now, he was describing a situation where he had supposedly not seen or heard from his daughter in nearly 2 years. There was no concern in his voice, no urgency, no clear timeline. And when investigators contacted Crystal Sorey, she denied having Harmony. In fact, she said she had spent months desperately trying to find her daughter herself. That was the moment the entire case shifted. Up until then, police had been trying to verify the welfare of a missing child. Now they were dealing with 2 parents pointing at each other, while neither could provide proof that Harmony was alive. Officially, the case became a missing person investigation. Detectives next contacted Kayla Montgomery, Adam's estranged wife. Her statement initially appeared to support Adam's version of events. She told investigators that the last time she remembered seeing Harmony was near the end of 2019, while Adam was supposedly driving the child to Crystal. Later that evening, according to Kayla, Adam returned and said Harmony would now be staying with her mother permanently. But there was a problem. Crystal Sorey had records showing that she repeatedly messaged Kayla asking where Harmony was. If Kayla truly believed Harmony was safe with Crystal, why were those conversations happening at all? Investigators began to suspect that the adults surrounding Harmony had accepted explanations they never seriously questioned, or were now trying to distance themselves from what really happened. As media attention intensified, police returned to Adam Montgomery with additional warrants and court orders demanding access to his phone records and information about Harmony's location. He refused to cooperate. Over and over, he repeated the same claim. Harmony was supposed to be with Crystal. By early January 2022, the story had become national news. The image of a missing little girl who had seemingly vanished for years without anyone noticing shocked people across the country. News stations aired photographs of Harmony with her blonde hair and bright smile while investigators publicly pleaded for information. Rewards were announced. Tips flooded in. But behind the scenes, detectives were already becoming increasingly convinced that this was not a simple custody dispute or missing child case. On January 4th, 2022, Adam Montgomery was arrested. Not yet for murder, but on unrelated charges connected to an earlier assault involving Harmony and for interfering with custody. Investigators already knew about allegations that Harmony had previously suffered physical abuse while living with him.
Well, your daughter had some injuries that you know about when you lived on Guilford Street.
No, I do not. What are you referring to?
Well, you were there, I wasn't, right?
What are you referring to?
I'm referring to her having some good marks.
What are you referring to?
Marks that were left on her by you.
Absolutely not. I have nothing else to say. You're sitting there telling me that right off the rip that there was something wrong with my daughter because of me. No, that's bullshit.
Okay. So if your daughter had marks on her at some point when you lived over there,
That's
how would you explain those?
How would she have gotten those marks?
Well, I would love to know when that marks were there because DCYF came to my house multiple times.
Okay. And we know that they came there.
Right. And closed the case.
Okay. Do we know that DCYF is the flagship agency in the country?
No, but if there was significant marks like you're referring to, I believe they would have flagged something at that point, and they would have said something. They would have came there and seen that the kids were well taken care of. All the kids loved being at the house with me. Yeah, but for you to sit there and say that it was inflicted because of me.
We're just going on what we hear. You're not telling us something, so we're going with what we have.
But I don't even know what you're referring to. What are you referring to?
Your daughter had a mark on her face that multiple people, have told us was inflicted by you.
Multiple people that weren't even living with us at the time.
Well,
When asked why the DCYF began checking up on Adam's family, he told investigators that his uncle, Kevin, told them that he was using drugs. But then later, he changes his story.
you don't recall your daughter ever having a mark on her face?
The reason DCYF came out to visit you guys, you don't recall that. Why did DCYF come out and start visiting you guys? What was the allegation?
If I remember correctly, it was because of, I believe at the time, I could be wrong, I believe it had something to do with my uncle saying I was using drugs, and I wasn't.
Now, who's your uncle so we are clear?
Kevin
Okay. And Kevin's last name?
Montgomery. Oh, that's what it was. That's what it was due. That's what it was due to. So Kevin moved out because between me and my wife and Kevin, we were supposed to like pay the bills, keep the heat on, the gas on, whatever. Well, Kevin was supposed to pay the electric bill. He didn't pay the electric bill. Me and my wife, I picked my wife from work and showed up at home. They were shutting the electricity off. So me and Kevin got into an argument about not paying the bill.
Yeah.
And he took his shit and moved out. And then so the next day, or 2 days later, something like that, I don't know, DCYF showed up and the police showed up because they said that we were unfit to have the children at the house because there was no electricity in the house.
Okay.
But we had a generator running, we had the fridge hooked up to it, there was food in the fridge, everything was fine. The police showed up, seen that the kids was fine, there was nothing wrong with them. The DCYF showed up and they left.
How did it end up that you guys got kicked out of there?
All right, so it was my grandmother's house.
Right.
They didn't pay the mortgage or whatever. They moved to Florida, so the mortgage payments weren't being paid. And I don't know, right around Thanksgiving sometimes, the sheriffs came and threw us out. And then me, Harmony, and Declan, Seamus, and Caleb left.
Where the heck did you guys go from there?
We were in our car
Oh, so you lived in your car at that time?
for a couple of days.
Okay.
And then
Did you have like a van or something like that back then at least? What were you driving back then?
on a Chrysler of some kind, I forget.
Oh, so it was just like a
A
sedan?
car sedan, yeah.
Okay, so you live in the car, so you, Kayla, and the 3 kids were living in the car for a few days, and then how'd you get out of that situation? Like who took you in, or where'd you guys end up?
We ended up going to our mom's house, Kayla's mom's house.
Okay, and what's her name?
Chris.
Chris, how she? Well, I mean, she must be okay. She's willing to take you guys in.
Yeah, alright, they're like, alright, I, you know what, man, like, I don't even want to talk anymore. Like, this is just beating around the bush, man. It just seems a little too silly to me. I already told you the other day what transpired. So we didn't even go to her mother's house.
Okay. Who didn't go to her mother's house?
Harmony was all.
Okay, so Harmony didn't go to Chris's house. So explain to me how she didn't end up going to Chris's house.
I've already explained this to you.
Well, there's some discrepancies between what you're telling us and what other people are telling us. You're saying you brought her down to Mass. Somebody said she came up from Mass.
I never once said I brought it down to Mass.
What did you say? She came up here to get her?
I never once said. I was audio and video recorded the other day. I never once said I went down to Mass.
So you're saying that she came up from Mass?
I'm not saying anything else.
One especially important detail came from Adam's own brother, who told authorities that Adam had admitted to striking Harmony in the past and giving her a black eye as punishment. That information suddenly made earlier reports from relatives and child welfare records appear far more serious. And the deeper investigators looked into Adam's background, the worse the picture became. Long before Harmony disappeared, Adam Montgomery already had a significant history of violence and criminal behavior. Court records showed incidents involving robbery, firearms, assault, and violent confrontations stretching back to his teenage years. In one case, he shot a man during a drug-related robbery attempt. In another, he faced charges involving weapons and assaultive conduct while still a minor. To detectives, this history mattered because it established a pattern: repeated violence, impulsive behavior, intimidation, and instability over many years. That raised an uncomfortable question. How had someone with that background been granted custody of a vulnerable child in the first place? As scrutiny increased, public criticism of child welfare agencies intensified as well. Earlier reports involving Harmony, including visible injuries and unsafe living conditions, suddenly looked far more alarming in hindsight. Critics argued that warning signs had existed long before Harmony disappeared. Meanwhile, investigators struggled with another major obstacle. They still had no body. Searches continued across multiple states. Tips were investigated. Locations connected to Adam and Kayla Montgomery were examined repeatedly. But every lead seemed to end the same way: uncertainty, missing evidence, and silence. The absence of Harmony's remains made the case extraordinarily difficult. Prosecutors believed a homicide had occurred, but proving it beyond a reasonable doubt without recovering the child's body would require an enormous amount of circumstantial evidence and witness testimony. Then the investigation took another turn. Kayla Montgomery herself was arrested after investigators discovered she had continued collecting government benefits connected to Harmony even after the child had disappeared. As pressure mounted, detectives also uncovered inconsistencies in Kayla's earlier timeline. Records showed that parts of her story did not match employment records, housing history, and other evidence investigators had gathered. Bit by bit, the timeline investigators had been reconstructing started to change. In 2022, forensic evidence recovered during the investigation pushed the case into a completely new stage. Authorities announced that Harmony's disappearance was now officially being treated as a homicide investigation. Prosecutors later alleged that Harmony died in December 2019 after suffering repeated blows to the head. In October 2022, Adam Montgomery was formally charged with second-degree murder, abuse of a corpse, witness tampering, and related offenses. By then, nearly 3 years had passed since anyone outside the immediate family had last seen Harmony alive. Then came another major development. Kayla Montgomery agreed to cooperate with prosecutors and later pleaded guilty to perjury charges in exchange for testimony against Adam. Her decision became one of the most controversial and important moments in the entire case. The defense would later argue she was motivated by self-preservation. Prosecutors argued her testimony finally explained what had happened inside that vehicle in December 2019. When Adam Montgomery's murder trial began in February 2024, public attention returned immediately. Reporters packed the courtroom. National media covered every update, and for the first time, prosecutors began presenting a detailed reconstruction of Harmony's final days. One of the most critical moments came when Kayla took the stand. She told jurors about a night in December 2019 when the family was driving through Manchester on the way to Burger King. What sounded at first like an ordinary family errand slowly became something far darker as the testimony continued. According to prosecutors, that drive was the last night Harmony Montgomery was ever seen alive. One detail presented during the trial stayed with many people long after the courtroom proceedings ended. Harmony Montgomery struggled with bladder control issues. She was only 5 years old, living in unstable conditions, moving between cars, shelters, and temporary housing. According to testimony later presented in court, this became one of the reasons Adam Montgomery targeted her with anger and humiliation. Prosecutors argued that on the night Harmony died, the family was driving through Manchester when she had an accident in the vehicle. What should have been handled with patience and care instead triggered violence. Inside that car were other children and adults. The space was small, crowded, impossible to escape. According to testimony, Harmony was trapped in an environment where fear had already become normal. Witnesses later described a pattern in which the child seemed frightened of upsetting Adam, as though she already understood how quickly his temper could change. As the drive continued, prosecutors said Adam began striking Harmony repeatedly. The details presented in court were difficult, even for experienced investigators to listen to. Testimony described escalating violence inside the vehicle, while the rest of the family remained only feet away. At some point, according to Kayla Montgomery's later testimony, Adam stopped and appeared to realize Harmony was no longer responding normally. Instead of calling for emergency help, the situation moved in an entirely different direction. Harmony was covered with a blanket, and the family continued driving. Prosecutors later emphasized how disturbing that decision was, because according to the evidence presented at trial, there was still no attempt to contact police, paramedics, or a hospital. The vehicle eventually returned to the Colonial Village area in Manchester. Outside, everyday life continued normally. Cars moved through parking lots. People walked nearby. But inside the vehicle, according to prosecutors, panic and fear had already taken over. From that moment forward, investigators argued, the focus shifted away from helping Harmony and toward concealing what had happened to her. Over the following months, prosecutors said Adam Montgomery repeatedly moved and concealed Harmony's body, while the family drifted between hotels, shelters, vehicles, and temporary living arrangements. According to testimony, the remains were hidden in bags and containers and transported from place to place as Adam attempted to avoid discovery. The constant movement became one of the most haunting aspects of the case. Again and again, investigators alleged opportunities existed for someone to speak up, call authorities, or stop the situation from continuing. Instead, silence and fear dominated the people closest to the crime. At one point, according to testimony, the family moved into a shelter while still hiding Harmony's remains nearby. Prosecutors later described efforts to contain decomposition and avoid detection. Residents eventually noticed a strong odor inside one location, leading to concern and maintenance requests. Before inspections could happen, however, the remains were allegedly moved again. For investigators, these details painted a picture not of a single impulsive act, but of a prolonged effort to conceal the death of a child over many months. Then, in March 2020, prosecutors believe Adam Montgomery made the final move to permanently dispose of Harmony's body. According to evidence presented at trial, he rented a truck and drove away alone for several hours before returning without the remains. To this day, Harmony Montgomery's body has never been found. That absence shaped nearly every part of the investigation. Without physical remains, prosecutors were forced to build a homicide case through witness testimony, forensic evidence, digital records, timelines, and the statements of people connected to Adam Montgomery. As the case moved toward trial, Kayla Montgomery became one of the prosecution's most important witnesses. In exchange for reduced legal consequences related to perjury charges, she agreed to testify against her former husband. Her testimony became one of the most emotionally difficult moments of the trial. Defense attorneys attacked her credibility aggressively, pointing out earlier inconsistencies and arguing that she had strong reasons to cooperate with prosecutors. Jurors were left with the difficult task of deciding how much of her account they believed. Still, prosecutors argued that her testimony matched the broader evidence investigators had spent years assembling.
Kayla, can you tell the jurors what happened when Adam returned to the vehicle after his methadone treatment?
When Adam came back to the vehicle, he could smell urine, and he started yelling at Harmony and kept hitting her in the head repetitively.
Where were you when he smelt that accident? Where was the vehicle when he smelt that accident?
In front of the methadone clinic.
Did you discuss going somewhere with him at any point that morning? Going to get food?
Yes. I asked to go to Burger King.
You asked to go to Burger King?
Yes.
And so at some point, did he begin driving the vehicle?
Yes.
Was that before or after he repeatedly struck Harmony?
After.
What was Harmony doing at that point when he started driving the vehicle?
She was crying. A lot.
She was crying a lot?
Yeah. And she was making a weird noise.
Was she saying anything?
No.
And Kayla, I want you to walk the jurors through in as much detail as you can what happened on your route from Habit Opco to that Burger King.
Adam was getting really angry from Harmony peeing in the car, and he repetitively kept punching her on the way to Burger King, and there were a couple red lights, and when we were at red lights, he would go over the driver's seat, like in between the passenger seat, and he was just punching her repetitively in the head.
And you've said there were several times where he punched her repetitively in the head.
Yes.
How many times did he hit her?
I can't count. I don't know.
Were you counting?
No, I wasn't.
How many lights did that car come to where he repetitively struck her?
At least 2 or 3.
Between Habit Opco and the Burger King, did the defendant say anything to Harmony?
Told her to shut the fuck up. Stop crying.
He said she was making a weird noise.
Yes.
Can you describe it?
It was like, I can't even describe it. It was like a moaning kind of noise, but crying. It was just weird. I can't explain it.
Did you try to help Harmony while he was striking her?
Yes.
Tell the jurors what you did to help, to try to help.
I put my arm up and said to stop, but he looked at me and he gave me this look that was like evil. It's his crazy eyes. I didn't like it, and I couldn't stop him from hitting her, because the look that he gave me was scary. I was scared.
What were you feeling when he looked at you like that?
Like he was either gonna hit me or just, I don't know. It was weird. And that was like one of the first times that I've seen him look at me like that.
Was it the last time you saw him look at you like that?
No.
And we'll talk about that more. But I want to focus on this drive. You said that that Harmony's crying. She's making this weird noise.
Yeah.
Where was she in the vehicle?
She was behind the passenger seat.
And who was in front of her in that car?
I was.
You described the defendant almost coming over the seat.
Yes.
Was he still driving at that point?
Some, like, kind of. Like, between the red lights, and it was definitely at the red lights. I remember that.
How was he striking her?
By punching her in the head.
Where were your other 2 children at that time?
In the back seat.
And what were they doing?
They had no idea what was going on.
How old were they?
Seamus was about 2.5, and Declan was 11 months old.
Did you look back at Harmony at any point?
No,
Why not?
because I was scared.
What were you scared of?
If Adam was going to say something, or if he hurt her really bad, it was going to look really bad.
You were scared of what Harmony would look like? That attempt to intervene, were you successful in that?
No,
Did he stop after that?
shortly after that,
Shortly after that. Did he say anything to you when he stopped?
he said he thinks that he really hurt her. But he felt something.
When he said that he thinks he really hurt her, where was the vehicle at that point?
At Burger King?
At the Burger King?
Yes.
And what did the defendant do after he stopped hitting Harmony, after he said, I think I really hurt her?
Nothing.
Did you order food from Burger King?
Yes.
Where was Adam when you were ordering food from Burger King?
In the driver's seat.
Did you go inside to the Burger King or something else?
No. I don't remember going in there.
Did you go through the drive-thru?
Yes.
And so who ordered the food?
Adam did.
And what did you do with the food that he had ordered?
Ate it, gave some to the kids.
Where were you when you ate the food?
In the parking lot
Which parking lot?
of Burger King.
Now, the kids were behind you at that point.
Yes.
Is that what you testified to?
Yes.
And who gave them food?
I did.
Did you see Harmony when you were giving them food?
No.
Why not?
Because she was under the blanket.
Who put her under the blanket?
Adam.
That's the same blanket that you mentioned earlier.
Yes.
The same blanket he would cover her with?
Yes.
Where did you go from the Burger King parking lot, Kayla?
Went back to Colonial Village
And how did you get there?
with the vehicle, Adam driving.
Was Harmony still under the blanket when you arrived at Colonial Village?
Yes.
And that moaning that you mentioned, that weird noise that she was making, was she still making it?
No.
How long did that noise that she was making last?
I don't remember. It wasn't. I don't remember. I don't remember if it was too long. I don't remember if it was after we were at Colonial Village for a little bit, or if it was before.
But that moaning, did it eventually stop?
Yes.
Did you check on Harmony at any point after the moaning stopped?
No.
Did Adam?
No.
Why didn't you check on her?
Because I was scared.
When you arrived at the Colonial Village parking lot, when you arrived back there, what did you and the defendant do?
We got drugs and got high.
When you say we got drugs and got high, what drugs did you get, Kayla?
Heroin and crack.
And how long did you use those drugs for in that parking lot?
We were there for probably 10 or 15 minutes.
Where did you go from the Colonial Village parking lot?
I don't remember where we were going, but I know we left.
You left at some point.
Yes.
And what happened when you left the parking lot?
We made it to the next street over, going towards Elm Street, and the car died when we got to the traffic light, and it wouldn't start or anything, and so we were stuck without a vehicle.
What was the defendant doing when the car died?
He was trying to get a jump, and there was no jumping the vehicle, and so we ended up having to leave it. And when we were getting out of the car and getting the kids out of the car, Harmony had passed away.
Let's talk about that. When you say Harmony had passed away, when did you realize that Harmony had passed away?
When Adam was trying to wake her up and she didn't reply or anything.
Was he saying things to her to try to wake her up?
Yeah, he said Harmony, and he kept saying baby girl, like, and trying to budge her, and there was nothing.
Was he touching her?
Yes.
What was he doing to her body at that point?
Trying to figure out what to do, and getting all the kids out of the car. He took the duffel bag that was in the trunk, and put her in the duffel bag.
You mentioned this duffel bag from the trunk.
Yeah.
Had you seen that duffel bag before, Kayla? What was it used
Yes.
for?
When we got kicked out of the house, we put clothes in there for everybody. And it was in the trunk of the car.
Did you see him put Harmony in that duffel bag?
Yes.
How did he put her in there, Kayla?
He, like, folded her in half and put her in the double bag.
Did he call 911 at any point?
No.
Did you?
No.
And when you saw him put her in that duffel bag, did you attempt to get away, to run?
No.
Why not?
They had the two other kids, and I was scared.
Scared of?
that something would happen to me or Adam and the kids.
You said you saw him put her in that duffel bag, fold her up and put her in there.
Yes.
What did her face look like when you saw her go into that bag?
It was all black and blue, and her face was puffy. Her eyes were puffy.
Did he say anything to you after he put her in that duffel bag?
I don't remember.
What did you do after he put her in the duffel bag?
We took the kids and we walked back to Colonial Village.
What did you do once you arrived at Colonial Village?
Put the bag in the snowbank so Anthony wouldn't see it.
I'm sorry, so that who wouldn't see it, Kayla?
Anthony.
That's Anthony Badero.
Yes.
Where was the snowbank that you put? And sorry, let me clarify. Who put her in a snowbank?
Adam.
Where was that snowbank that he put her in?
In the embankment from the parking lot.
What was around that snow embankment?
A dumpster. And cars and snow.
And you said he put it in there so that Anthony Badero wouldn't see.
Yeah.
What did the defendant do after he put that duffel bag in the snowbank?
Left her there. And we got a ride from Badero to get the stuff out of our car.
And where was your car at that point?
It was at that street. We ended up leaving it, and when we came to the car, it was already getting towed.
So Mr. Badero gave you a ride back to your vehicle?
Yes.
Were you able to get belongings out of the vehicle?
Yes.
And who did that? Who got those items out?
Adam and myself.
That vehicle was your home at the time.
Yes.
What did you do after that in terms of a shelter?
Badero let us sleep in his car for the weekend until I figured something out.
Just for the weekend?
Yeah.
Is that what you had asked him for, or is that what he said, just for the weekend?
That's what he said.
And what kind of vehicle did Mr. Badero have?
An Audi.
Do you remember what color it was?
Blue.
Was it a car, a sedan, or an SUV?
A car.
And I want to talk about the time that you were living in that car that weekend. Where was Harmony's body at that point when you were living in Mr. Badero's vehicle?
In the trunk of the car.
And did the defendant ever move it from the trunk of the car to another location?
Yes.
Where would he put it?
Near the dumpster.
Why?
So Anthony wouldn't see it.
Was it cold outside at the time?
Yes.
You mentioned snow. Was there snow on the ground?
Yes.
On February 22, 2024, after weeks of testimony and deliberation, the jury found Adam Montgomery guilty on multiple charges, including second-degree murder, assault, witness tampering, evidence tampering, and abuse of a corpse. For Harmony's family, the verdict brought a measure of accountability, but not closure. Because even after years of investigation, media coverage, courtroom testimony, and national attention, one devastating reality remained unchanged. Harmony herself had still not been brought home. In May 2024, Adam Montgomery was sentenced to decades in prison, effectively ensuring he would spend the rest of his life behind bars. During sentencing, prosecutors described the case as one marked not only by violence, but by prolonged cruelty, concealment, and indifference to the suffering of a child who had depended entirely on the adults around her.
You took a human life, and you did so in the most callous and heartless of ways. You robbed a 5-year-old girl, your own daughter, of the life that she was to lead. You stole from your sons a sister. You took a daughter from her mother. You were convicted of reckless second-degree murder. Reckless in this context does not mean something that was an accident. It is defined under law as something that manifests the extreme indifference to a human life. Your extreme indifference to the value of human life is seen in so many of your actions in this case. In 2019, you beat Harmony. In the words of your uncle, her eye was fully black and blue like a raccoon eye, is what he said. Your words, when asked, were, quote, "I bashed her around the effing house." And then you hid her from the view of others, and you kept her from those that came to help her. On the date that you murdered her, you didn't hit her once, you punched her in the head repeatedly. You beat her in the car while at stoplights, more than one time. You knew that she was severely injured, yet you covered her with a blanket and didn't check on her until after you took her lifeless body from the car. And then, after her death, you treated her body like it was trash, worse than trash. You did unimaginable things to her body, and all in an effort to save yourself from being discovered as her murderer. And then, on top of that, you threatened, abused, and beat your wife to keep her silent. Your criminal history similarly reflects your extreme indifference to the value of human life. Your actions having taken both a physical and emotional toll on so many. In 2008, you were convicted of criminal threatening after pointing a knife at a 15-year-old girl. In 2010, you were convicted of armed robbery and assault and battery with a dangerous weapon in a home invasion incident in which it was reported that you held up a woman at gunpoint, terrorizing her to the point that she lost control of her bodily functions. In 2009, you were convicted of first-degree assault for stabbing another person. In 2014, you were convicted of assault and battery with a dangerous weapon and larceny in a case in which it was reported that you shot a man in the face. In 2019, you were convicted of 2 counts of armed career criminal, 2 counts of theft, and 2 counts of receiving stolen property, all of the charges stemming from the thefts of firearms, guns, exchanges of guns for drugs and money. The court has to consider 3 primary goals of sentencing: punishment, deterrence, and rehabilitation. The focus today is on your convictions in this case: second-degree murder, falsifying physical evidence, witness tampering, abuse of a corpse, and second-degree assault. But the prior convictions are important, and they're important as well as each of them reflects not just your extensive criminal conduct, but each of them represents an opportunity after sentencing for you to have changed the trajectory of your life, to change how you were treating other people. But you were either unwilling or unable to do so. And as a result, at this point, the court has the responsibility to impose a sentence that not only punishes you harshly for the crimes that you have committed, but considers deterrence, that is, how to keep you from hurting others. In light of the egregious nature of the crimes of which you have been convicted in this case, and taking into consideration your extremely violent criminal history, the court finds the only way to do this is to keep you off the streets. To the extent you seek to rehabilitate yourself, that will have to happen behind the prison walls. Harmony was an innocent 5-year-old girl. You treated her in the worst of possible ways, in both her life and in her death. Therefore, the court sentences you as follows. On charge ID 2027112C, the charge of second-degree murder, You are sentenced to the New Hampshire State Prison for not more than life nor less than 45 years. That sentence is stand committed. That sentence is consecutive. All of these sentences, I should say now, are consecutive to each other, as well as consecutive to docket 216-2022 CR 577, which are the sentences that you're currently serving. Additionally, you're to participate meaningfully and complete any counseling, treatment, or education programs as directed by the correctional authority or probation, parole. Law enforcement agencies may return evidence to its rightful owner. You are ordered to be of good conduct and comply with all the terms of this sentence. This is also consecutive to the second-degree assault charge in the docket ending in 20. That is charge ID 1937947C. Do you have any questions about that sentence?
Nope.
On charge ID 2027113C, falsifying physical evidence. On this charge, you are sentenced to New Hampshire State Prison for not more than 7 years nor 3.5 years. This sentence is stand committed, consecutive to all of the other charges that I'm about to read you, as well as consecutive to the second-degree assault charge in the docket ending in 20 and the sentences that you are presently serving. You do have the obligation, as with the other sentences, to meaningfully participate in programming as directed by the correctional authority or probation, parole. You're ordered to be of good conduct and comply with all the terms of that sentence. On the charge of tampering with witnesses and informants, you are sentenced to the New Hampshire State Prison for not more than 7 years nor less than 3.5 years. Again, this sentence is consecutive to the additional sentences that I've read to you that I'm reading to you in this case, as well as docket ending in 20 and the sentences that you are presently serving. You have the same obligations for participation in programming, and law enforcement may return evidence to its rightful owner. On the abuse of corpse charge, on this charge, you are sentenced to the maximum penalty of 12 months at the House of Correction. All of this sentence is suspended for 25 years. If it were to be imposed, it would be consecutive to the sentences that I read to you. And on this charge, you will also have the provision of a no contact order, and that is no contact with the Sorey family, the Miller family, and the Rafferty family. That sentence is also consecutive were it to be imposed to all of the other sentences in this case and the sentence you're currently serving. On the second-degree assault charge, charge ID 1937947C, you are sentenced to New Hampshire State Prison for not more than 8 years nor less than 4 years. This sentence is consecutive to the sentences in docket 216-2022 CR 2372. This is charge ID 1937947C. On this charge, you have the additional requirement, as you have in the other cases, to meaningfully participate in programming. Law enforcement agencies may return evidence to its rightful owner, and you're obligated to be of good behavior and comply with all the terms of the sentence. Do you have any question about those sentences?
No, I do not.
All right, before you go, counsel, approach, please.
No, I do not. The response from Adam Montgomery in relation to any questions regarding the sentence that was just handed down by the judge, 45 years to life, plus consecutive prison sentences for the other charges in this case, also to be served consecutively with the previous assault charges.
The
Adam Montgomery
sentences that I
going to
just
jail,
reviewed
going to
for
prison for a
Mr.
long
Montgomery
time.
are imposed in light of the extended period of incarceration. The court will also make the finding that you do not have an ability to pay your attorney's fees, so there will not be an obligation for those in these matters. The clerk will now address you regarding sentence review.
You are hereby notified that you have the right to apply for review of the state prison sentence imposed on you on May 9th, 2024.
But the story of Harmony Montgomery continues to haunt people for another reason as well. Again and again throughout her life, warning signs appeared. Injuries, instability, homelessness, prior violence, child welfare concerns, missed follow-ups, conflicting stories. Yet despite all of it, Harmony disappeared for nearly 2 years before authorities fully understood what had happened. And that is the part many people still struggle to comprehend. Not only how a child could vanish so completely, but how so many chances to protect her came and went before it was finally too late.